My name is Rupert Staines, and my business partner, Dan Brown. We are the managing partners at Incubeta Marketplaces, which used to be Maze One. For those of you who know, we were recently acquired. So we'll take you through a very quick summary, really, of the sort of ecosystem for marketplaces as we see it, and then move into a little bit more on the importance of Amazon as the largest marketplace in the market. So without hesitation, I'll move forward. I'll start with a few, and then Dan will come in later. So a little bit about us. We are a dedicated team of marketplace experts. We provide expertise across marketplaces globally, but with a specific focus on Amazon, because that's where most activity happens today. But increasingly, we're seeing and getting inquiries on many other marketplaces. Our sort of menu is sort of a la carte. You can see here we provide everything from audits of your business in marketplaces through to setting up new businesses and making setup more seamless and better prepared for marketplaces, then optimizing content and establishing the best possible listings that you can have, helping you with all the operational and logistics behind that. And then we do all the advertising on console. So any of the advertising that appears within the marketplace, which may be similar to search PPC, but also there is display advertising too. And then the sort of wrapper around everything is strategy and consultancy. So we have a broader retail and e-commerce experience in our team that can help with both marketing and media strategies as well. So that's just a little bit about us, and obviously feel free to contact us if you have more questions on it. So just looking at marketplaces and the ecosystems as a whole, obviously, primarily because of the pandemic, there has been enormous growth, sort of exponential growth, really, over the last 2 years. And you can see here from the figures, it's very much a worldwide phenomenon. There are marketplaces that are dominant in many of these regions that are not Amazon. So Amazon, for those of you who don't know, is actually only present in 18 markets today. So you can, obviously attach yourselves to Amazon globally, but then in every market globally, there are marketplaces that dominate as well. So that's part of the reason we're showing you this here. But as you can see, there is an enormous amount spent on marketplaces in 21, as much as just over $3 trillion. And there's plenty more to come as growth continues to accelerate. In Europe specifically, it's quite complex because Europe as a geography is obviously very diverse and disjointed, but equally dynamic. The EU as a market as a whole represents the third largest sort of region globally, with almost $500 billion of sales. They represent around 17% now of retail spend in Europe. But the variance is considerable between the different markets. So in the big e-commerce markets like the UK and Germany, you'll see as much of as a 25% share of market, whereas somewhere like Italy, it's still only 6%. But broadly speaking, all these numbers are going in a positive direction. The general marketplaces, and I'll come on to what I mean by that, such as Amazon and eBay, very much lead the way. Amazon by far and away the number one, with almost double the size of eBay. But there are now over 65 marketplaces across Europe that already have over 1 million visits per month. So the space is growing fast, and there seems to be a new marketplace evolving every day. We're also seeing the rise of what we would call more traditional retailers and online retailers such as Boots, Tesco, Ocado, who are turning themselves into marketplaces and themselves launching marketplaces. So that's certainly one to look out for. And you can see from here the top 10 in the UK specifically. And you can see here what we talk about, general versus vertical, or horizontal versus vertical. So general marketplaces are open marketplaces where you can pretty much sell anything. And the ability to sell anything is there, like Amazon and eBay. But then you have very large sort of vertical marketplaces that sort of focus and specifically on categories such as Etsy in the arts and crafts space, Zalando in fashion, Mano Mano, which is a French business, fast growing in homewares. And so there's marketplaces evolving and becoming available for pretty much everything, which is very interesting for multiple clients across multiple categories. You can see there's been exponential growth across this space, but equally that growth is happening across all aspects of e-commerce. So when you consider the platform technologies such as Shopify, BigCommerce, WooCommerce, Magento, they are obviously rapidly expanding to help those building D2C. Equally, all the logistics, stock control and feed management companies such as a Linworks or a Channable or Just Applications are rapidly expanding to help smooth the path of getting product from A to B. And then also the fulfillment quality has improved massively with Amazon's own Fulfilled by Amazon, FBA, and also eBay's global shipping program. All of these factors are factors that are growing across all marketplaces, typically led by Amazon. So when we think about customer loyalty, the Prime membership has been an enormous success. And then lastly in this section, measuring success of marketplaces, what's really important for clients is to understand where does the sort of marketing component of marketplaces sit within the broader market, within the broader marketing plan. We believe at least that marketplaces should very much be part of an omni-channel retail media approach. So almost an always on feature in your e-commerce marketing plan. It's not just a supermarket for selling products. It's very much, in the case of Amazon and increasingly eBay, it's very much a media entity and a media channel. So therefore, it's important to get that balance and control of your budgets when driving traffic to these different retail outlets. It's very important to understand what is driving traffic, where is it driving most profitable outcomes. So measuring the conversion type and rate to both your D2C and your marketplace is a very important data consideration. Equally, how is all the online activity impacting your offline? If you have offline retail sales, that's equally important. And then lastly, adopting really a best-in-class data solution, data technology platform, where you can understand and gain insight at a category and a product level, is really becoming more and more important in terms of gaining that sales advantage over your competitors. Dan, I'll hand over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Rupert. So look, this is how we advise our clients how they should approach marketplaces, because marketplaces are relatively nascent. They're all at different stages of development. A lot of them are playing catch up with Amazon, to be honest. So we talk to clients what the best approach, how they should approach marketplaces. So Rupert, if you could just skip on, that'd be great. So we talk about having a best practice process, and these are the sort of stages that we recommend people go through. So it's from the basics, from identifying the key marketplaces in each territory, and understanding what the size of the opportunity is at territory level, but also at category level and subcategory level. You need to work through the process for requirements when you're launching on a new marketplace. One, from a product compliance, which is important, but also from a business perspective as well, needing being VAT registered in that territory. You need to make a decision about what your preferred operating model is for you, and there's different marketplaces behave in different ways, so it could be that you want to be a seller where you sell directly through the platform to the consumer. It could be that the vendor relation suits you better, where you trade directly as a B2B partner to that marketplace. Or it could be that you basically enable other people to sell for you and have a reseller relationship. So you make that decision, and then based on that decision, you need to look at your fulfillment model. What suits you. You might need a 3PL partner to help you launch across a certain marketplace or in a certain territory. And then what's key is to map, especially for brands, is about mapping out your brand and content requirements. Is your brand going to be represented well in the marketplace? Because a lot of marketplaces, they're not, and a lot of them are sort of, like I said, playing catch up with some of the early adopters. So you need to make sure that your strategy isn't just based on, obviously, can you scale the business, but is your brand represented well? And that includes everything from content and your IP, but also importantly, your price. Can you control your own pricing? So once you've done that, you need to understand the marketplace capabilities around data and insight. And there's certain tools you can use to get this information. And we work with a lot of these technologies, but you need this insight to be able to understand, one, what products to launch and at what price you want to launch them, and also help you with new product development. So once you've done that, you also need to know what are the capabilities to promote yourself. And obviously, all these marketplaces have different capabilities. Whether some marketplaces like Zalando are more of a black box solution, others like Amazon are more evolved, where you've got access to their DSP and also in-console advertising. And eBay is also launching new capabilities around advertising. So again, within marketplaces, it's evolving relatively quickly, but you need to have an understanding of that before you go into it. Once you've done that, you then need to look into the capabilities of whether you can create a forecast. And you can there's technologies that enable you to do that, or you need to try and have a conversation with the marketplace to enable you to forecast accurately. And then you launch. Thanks, Rupert. If you go to the next one. Once you've done that, and you've launched onto a marketplace, these are the components that we know that you're going to need to succeed. So to give you an example, you need to make sure that you have really good account health, because a lot of times marketplaces will shut you down if you don't. And that includes having all the right business details implemented, having the bank details implemented, and making sure you're delivering to the marketplace's compliance. Secondly, marketplaces are competitive spaces, and a lot of it is around marginal gains, and content is key. So you need to make sure that, one, your listings are uploaded correctly and in the right categories, because that will affect your sales. But secondly, that your listings are optimized to the algorithms within the marketplace, but also to the consumer. And you need to create content strategies and to give it as much care and attention as you would your own and operated platform. So you need to have perfect content. Again, going back to, you want the ability to police your brand, make sure that either resellers are adhering to brand guidelines, or the fact that the marketplace adheres to your brand guidelines. You need to have best-in-class operational performance, making sure that you're fulfilling either to the marketplace or to the consumer in the right time, and the times that you've said you would. Otherwise, you get bad reviews, and reviews then affect sales. You need to manage your advertising and make sure that you've got strategies in place, whether that be defensive strategies around your own product brand names and your own brand name, but also offensive strategies, making sure that you're raising awareness within the marketplace. Then going back to ratings and reviews, there's platforms out there that can get you generally good ratings and reviews. They're a key part to success. And then it goes back to having insight and understanding about what's selling, what products sell well, and sort of around the promotional calendar. And that's where data then comes into it. And there needs to be an element of focus within your business, and in housing as well. And then that goes back to account health. So they're the pillars that we feel drive success within marketplaces. Thanks, Rick. The next part is, and we're going to touch on Amazon purely because it's the biggest, and give you sort of a top line information on some of the stats and the types of relationships you can have. So nearly 90% of UK shoppers are using Amazon at the moment, and 75% of them start their journey on mobile. So when it comes to your own Amazon journey, you need to make sure that your content and all your business is set up to be mobile friendly. There's 16 million British shoppers subscribed to Amazon Prime now at the moment, and that's growing. The reason being is that, you know, Prime is next day delivery, being one of the key components, and Amazon are the best logistics company in the world. Globally, and this is interesting for brands, they launched in the UK brand registry 2 years ago, in 2018, and that was to encourage more brands to become sellers. Brand registry is a program which enables you to take control of your brand within the Amazon ecosystem. It gives you different functionality and tools than other resellers. It gives you an ecosystem where you can promote your products, and also there's different advertising solutions that you can use as well. But overall, globally, there's now 500,000 brands who have signed up to brand registry, and it's a growing program. More brands are choosing seller accounts than vendors at the moment. There's over 21 Amazon FBA distribution centers in the UK, and that's grown significantly over the last few years. And at the moment, pre-COVID, they had around 28 to 30,000 employees in the UK. But currently now that's scaled to 60,000 employees in the UK. So they've seen rapid growth driven from the pandemic, but also that growth is continuing with, they've reported 82% in sales growth in the UK in 2021 over pre-pandemic levels of 2019. So there's still growth in the market. And the primary audiences around buying it on Amazon, or Gen Z takes up the majority, but obviously 25% of millennials are regular shoppers as well. So it's a huge marketplace, and we'll take you some of the category insights in a bit. But just as a bit of anecdotal evidence based on, you know, clients that we've worked with, other brands in the market, if you get it right, it can cost 10 times less to acquire a customer in the Amazon marketplace than on your own site, if you get the right strategies. Thanks, Rupert. If you can move on. So then, look, just to give you a view of the size and some of the categories within the marketplace. You're looking at, so this is the last 30 days retail sales for the top 100 to 120 products in each category. And there's, in some of the categories, there's up to 40,000 products. But pet supplies, I'll just pull out a few. Pet supplies did just under £9.5 million worth of retail sales over the last 30 days. And that's the top category. Within those categories, you've got subcategories like food and grooming, training products, accessories and health. All of them are fairly robust. Again, another one of interest is obviously health and personal care is big, just doing under £11.3 million in the last 30 days alone. And then within that, again, there's subcategories which cover baby and childcare, bath and body, dental, vitamins and minerals is a big subcategory within it, and also wellness as well. So the categories are broad. And one last one I'll pull out is beauty, which is doing around 8.3 million in the last 30 days. And the subcategories within that are subcategories like bath and body, fragrance, makeup, hair care, and skin care. So I think the key takeout is, it's Amazon is broad. Most of the categories are big. Clothing is quite an interesting category because that's seen significant growth in the last year, and more brands are starting to take control within that category and become sellers and sign up to brand registry. But overall, they're fairly significant sizes. So yeah, thank you, Rupert. You're on mute. Rupert, you're on mute.
Apologies. To finish up with the importance of an Amazon strategy. So look, the very top line again, as Dan has mentioned, increasingly, Amazon has become really an epicenter for brand exposure because of the sheer volume of users that they have. So when it comes to using Amazon as a media entity, not just a supermarket, it's a really important space to understand how to scale your brand, gain exposure, and grow your revenue both on Amazon and off Amazon. So don't just view it as a place to sell your products. View it as a place to sell your brand. And then of course one of the really easy things to do, and I don't say that lightly, it is genuinely a relatively straightforward process, is to expand your business into multiple markets. You don't have to be a Unilever or a Procter & Gamble to have that sort of global scale. You can be a relatively small, almost startup in the market and have your products and portfolio being sold globally across all the Amazon marketplaces in a fairly quick and seamless fashion. And that is primarily because Amazon has such an amazing sort of logistics setup. So those factors are key. And also we mentioned earlier, there are 3 types of relationships with Amazon: vendor, seller, or reseller. As a seller, that is essentially using Amazon's platform, selling direct to consumers, where you're in control of all aspects of your presence on Amazon. And then you can choose your fulfillment approach, either yourself, so that's FBM, which is fulfilled by merchant, where you are in charge of all the sort of, the packing, the delivery, the customer returns, and so forth. Or increasingly, sellers, and we often advise sellers, is use FBA, which is fulfilled by Amazon. So take advantage of Amazon's logistical muscle, and use them to do the picking, packing, delivery, customer return, because that is hugely successful. Consumers trust it, and it rarely goes wrong. As a vendor, a vendor relationship is an invite-only relationship. So Amazon have to invite you to be a vendor, and that is essentially a relationship with Amazon where it's B2B. You're selling to Amazon, and they are then essentially, organizing your presence and your process on Amazon and to the consumer. However, just a note of warning there: they will only do so much. And they won't necessarily they won't do your advertising in terms of on console. They won't necessarily optimize the content to the level we think it should be at. So there are definitely limitations. But as a vendor, of course, you have that luxury, or that negotiation position with Amazon to try and drive bigger business. Then third is a reseller. So this is a job, for example, we did with Unilever, where you can have your presence. Many brands have their presence on the marketplace, but they have no control because there are multiple resellers in the market. So the process there is to go through brand registry. We don't have time to go into that today, but that is something that we can answer and help people on, and probably go into more detail in one of our other webinars. So they're the 3 types of relationship. So finally, key takeaways from this session: marketplaces clearly represent an enormous global opportunity. It is very important, in our opinion, that you leverage expertise where expertise is available, and that you use the best practice, as Dan went through, and also the data insight, as these are absolutely critical to your success. And I think third is understanding that really the cost of acquisition, customer acquisition on a marketplace, and certainly in the case of Amazon, is lower than if you're trying to acquire customers to your own website. That is not to say we say you should only be on marketplaces, but we believe very much in an omni-channel approach. Your most loyal customers will always buy from you on your own site, and those, but there are a much bigger number of people who are buying on marketplaces. So it's important to get that balance and combination right.